welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. So this is going to be a little bit more of a fun video. There's a balance to everything. We're still going to do the news here. All right, so there's chapters involved. In between some of those chapters, maybe we might tell some stories, have a good time. Who knows? We'll see. So let's start here with this article on U.Today. It's titled, XRP is not a security even if Ripple sells it as one. Here's why. Crypto Law founder. I'm scrolling down, right? And I'm looking at John Deaton's face. There was a commenter. Mr. Deaton, what did you do? Like, why do the people hate you so much? Oh, man, I made a short. And they do not like John Deaton. My goodness, they call John Deaton a clown and everything. I'm like, okay, I don't feel anything about that. All right. Did they put the clown emoji? I just know it was hilarious. It was, and I was just thinking to myself, what did John Deaton do? Is it just because he's like fighting for XRP? Like, what did he do that really is? You know what? I have seen him go back and forth with people on Twitter. Is that what it is? Maybe. I don't know, but I just know Mr. Deaton. Holy smokes, some people really don't like you, sir. Anyway, let's begin with the article here. It says here, pro-Ripple lawyer John Deaton, the founder of Crypto Law, has taken to Twitter to share an argument as to why XRP cannot be qualified as a security. Listen, it's just going to be based on the LBRY hearing that just happened. Simple as that. Anybody who's wise is going to use that case. So they're making sure that this is well known and that it makes the rounds and everybody hears about it. It's a good strategy. You know, is it a guarantee? No. But now that we have the precedent set, it's something that a lot of lawyers, I believe, are going to use, not just with XRP, but in any of these upcoming cases. If you did not use that, I think it would be foolish. It's a great strategy right now. So it's all about the secondary market sale. So once again, this is what they're saying here. However, it says per the judge's ruling, that does not apply to LBC sales on a secondary market. In those cases, those tokens were not investment contracts. This proves, LBC is not a security. And then let's scroll down here. It says, if at Ripple offered or sold XRP, this is the connection, as an investment contract at some point during its history, or even if it does today. I wouldn't even concede. I don't concede to the enemy. I'm not taking a knee. I'm not taking a step back. I'm not going to say, what if we did this? Not at all, but we're all different. We're all different. I say give the enemy nothing. Take everything from them. Give them nothing. You heard King Leonidas in 300? Take everything from them and give them nothing. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. They're going to have to come take it. I'm not giving you anything. But here he says, if at Ripple offered or sold XRP as an investment contract at some point during its history, or even if it does today, it does not make XRP a security. Hashtag XRP remains digital code. The judge in LBRY.com ruled LBRY sold hashtag LBC as an investment contract when it made direct sale. So you know how this all has played out. But as far as the holders of these protocols, it's looking very, very good because of that precedent that was set. Which, by the way, anybody have any more just overall music suggestions? Like I said, you can skip this chapter and go to the next one. Any more music suggestions? I need more music to listen to, but nothing bad, though. Nothing bad. Nothing negative. You know what I'm saying? But some good music. Put it down in the comment section. I give it a listen to. Rock. Listen, you know what band? I don't like that they're not spoken about. They don't really get their credit. Stained. Do you remember Stained? That band was deep. They were a little bit sad. That album, what was that album called? With It's Been a While on it. Outside is on it. I'm on the outside. I'm looking in. I can see through you. See your true colors. 'Cause inside you're ugly. That was a deep band. Stained was deep. Mudvayne was deep. LD50. Did you ever really listen to LD50? My goodness. I mean, deep. These are bands that people don't really talk about. See, I could talk about everything. What do you want to talk about? So anyway, let's get back to this crypto talk here. So the banks continue to try to invade crypto. This article here is from cryptobriefing.com, right? And it's titled, Russia's largest bank to launch Ethereum compatible DeFi platform. So we just saw yesterday a bank, it was a central bank, I think it was a central bank in Indonesia is coming out with the first, maybe it was a central bank, was it the government? It was either the central bank of Indonesia or the government, something like that. They're coming out with the first either central bank or government-backed exchange in the world. You have that. Now you have Russia's largest bank trying to come out with an Ethereum compatible DeFi platform. So I called this about a year ago that they're going to try to take over crypto. It's beginning slowly, but it's not being reported widely. Interesting, isn't it? There's a lot of people in on keeping the takeover of crypto quiet, but it's happening. So let's read this little tidbit here. It's just a little tidbit. It says Russia's various financial institutions and banking entities don't always see eye to eye on the subject of cryptocurrencies. Esper Bank, we've covered them before. The nation's largest bank is one of the biggest proponents of the technology and is now aiming to launch its own DeFi platform by the end of April. It says here, Russia is ready to dive into Ethereum's permissionless ecosystem. Esper blockchain product director Konstantin Klimenko announced today at the Perm Economic Congress in Moscow that the bank would be launching its own DeFi platform on Ethereum before May. Quote, "We have set ourselves a big goal to make the Russian DeFi ecosystem #1. So listen, just another step in the governments and the central banks. They're all intertwined so much that they're pretty much one system. The entire world is a globalist corporation at this point. They're so intertwined. And like the conflicts that they have just look so superficial, like it's so fake, in my humble opinion. Powerful entities get to a point where they feel like they need to control both the positive and the negative. So they attempt to create the positive, which they do a terrible job at because they have no positivity themselves. So that makes sense, but they're still going to try. That doesn't negate the fact that they're going to try. So they try to control the positives, but they also control and create the negatives. And in that way, this is why you hear me say so many times that they're fake you-know-whats, right? I have to be careful because YouTube, they'll try to punish me. But they're fake rulers. That's what I'll say, right? All right. So now let's go here. So this is actually, I just wanted to cover this. It's not crypto related. Well, actually it is because so many people, so many great researchers, NFT builders, and just voices of crypto are on Twitter. For Twitter people, it says Twitter users that contribute content now have a reason to celebrate, as it's likely that they will soon be able to start earning money for their work they put in and for their creativity. This is good. On Friday, Twitter's new CEO, Elon Musk, announced that the content creators will soon start receiving a portion of revenue generated by advertisements that appear in their reply threads. Musk was quoted as saying, "Starting today, Twitter will share ad revenue." Starting today? You can get money today on Twitter? What? Okay, let me read this. Musk was quoted as saying, "Starting today, Twitter will share ad revenue with creators for ads that appear in their reply threads." What? Holy smokes. I can't tell people what to do, but I hope they're going to get that money. That's money on the table. Some of these people are getting so many Twitter replies and responses, and they're getting all of these views. That's money. Go get that money. Not financial advice. Don't follow anything I'm saying. I'm just saying there's money on the table. What? This is very good, man. They have a lot of good content on Twitter from what I've seen. At least my people are brilliant. They got research and stuff like that. So hopefully maybe people will earn some good money from Twitter. I don't know. It says this also indicates that content authors whose threads attract the most advertisements on their replies will have the opportunity to earn an even larger chunk of the ad revenue. Interesting. This is interesting. We'll see how this goes. Okay. So let's move on here. Okay. So now another little middle piece. You can skip this chapter if you like, right? So I appreciate every single person out there. The other day, people were telling me they liked my sweater that I had on the other day. So I have another sweater on. I specifically put a sweater on, because people liked the sweater from yesterday. I appreciated it. Thank you so much for the compliments. I used to really hate sweaters when I was younger. I'll tell you a quick story. My grandmother, right? We used to, family used to get together on Christmas, and everybody would get gifts. Everybody's buying each other gifts. Great times, right? Now, I would be amidst everyone opening their presents. It seemed like everybody would get their presents before me. Maybe that's just my perspective, right? My perception. So I'm watching my big cousins. Oh, they got Sega Genesis. I'm like, oh man, like, I hope I got something. Can I play with that Sega? No, you can't play with my Sega. Yeah, I'm watching the other cousins. They got a Hot Wheels track. I'm like, just one. Can I play with one Hot Wheels? No, you can't play with these Hot Wheels. Oh man, I know Grandma got me something good. She had to. I was a good boy. I was getting into a lot of fun. Listen, my childhood, parts of it were very interesting, because sure, good grades, great grades. I also was getting into a lot of fights. I was knuckling up a lot, but Grandma didn't know. But hey, I was a good boy. I want my present. As far as you know, Grandma, I was a good boy. All right. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking to myself. I was a good boy, and I think my dad and my mom told Grandma I was a good boy. I should be getting a good present. So I'm looking at the Sega Genesis. I'm looking at Altered Beast, the Hot Wheels. I'm like, man, I know I'm gonna get something. I see a nice big box. Ooh, nice big box. I'm like, oh my, what did Grandma get? It's time. Oh, that Sega's nothing. I don't know what I got. I probably got a VHS player. And some of you youth out there don't even know what a VHS player is. Maybe I got a Walkman or something like that. And Hot Wheels is nothing. I probably got an RC car, big box. They're like, oh, open your present. I go and grab the present. You ever grab the box, and the box is light as a feather? You're like, wait a minute. Pranking me? Why is my box light as a feather? Like, what? Rip off the wrapping and stuff, open up the box, and it's a sweater. It's a sweater. Anytime I wear a sweater, it reminds me of my grandmother, man. And didn't appreciate sweaters then, but I definitely do now. They feel very good, very comfortable. And like almost everything I do is a purpose behind it. Like wearing this, the things that I wear, like on camera, it all means something to me. There's a reason why I do what I do. Sweaters remind me of my grandmother and such like that. I started wearing blazers and such like that because of my father. My father always wears suits all the time. He said, son, you got to look sharp, and he would always have the best suits. And, I didn't want to wear like double-breasted suits and stuff like that. It just looked too old school to me. So then I started wearing blazers. It's a long time ago. I started wearing blazers and stuff like that. And, my dad saw the blazers first time I came with my style. And he was like, oh, son, you look sharp. And that's like every time. I remember that every time. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, the things I do, like if it brings like a good energy, I try to make sure that whatever I do brings a good energy around me. I just surround myself with good energy. That's what I've been attempting to do for years and years and years. It definitely has been doing me well. So anyway, let's go here. So this article here is from cryptodaily.co.uk. and it's titled "Small Banks Calling for Crypto Rein In." Calling for crypto rein in may see their own demise. See how energy comes right back around to you. So the independent community bankers of America are calling for lawmakers and regulators to rein in the cryptocurrency industry. As CBDCs enter mainstream, there will be a need for small banks. All right, stating the obvious there. The ICBA president, Rebecca Romero Rainey, recently sent a letter to Congress urging lawmakers and regulators to take a more adequate oversight of crypto. Listen, you know the small banks are afraid of crypto. If you had Christine Lagarde, the head of the ECB, in her own words, was afraid crypto would take over their industry at some point in the future. Look it up. I showed the screenshot on the one of the videos. I know people went and they downloaded that web page. They screenshot it. I'm pretty sure. We keep files. But if they're afraid of crypto, or at least they were before the bank coins fully brought them over to our side and kind of calmed them down, then you know those small banks are afraid of crypto. Let's scroll down here. Let's scroll down. It says opinion. Mirsky and the small banks that he is representing could probably be forgiven for failing to understand what crypto brings to the financial table. That's what I was thinking also. They should be trying to benefit from crypto. They haven't been doing that this entire time. They were hoping for a handout from the central banks, and the central banks are moving really slow. So small banks have not taken the initiative to benefit from the new financial system. Foolish on their part. It says being a banker does not mean that you would have much idea of new technology, such as stable coins and DeFi protocols, which are probably completely beyond your understanding. Ooh, this person is going in. They're really giving it to them. These banks are also trying to protect themselves and their industry from what they perceive to be a threat to the stability of the financial system in which they operate. That's key. I hate when I don't want to just read where they say threat to the stability of the financial system. No. I'm glad they said which they operate. Crypto is a threat to the small banks because no one needs them anymore. They don't need them anymore. They just want to use them. They're born into these traditions, and the people just continue to utilize tradition. They don't, most people on earth will not break free of their traditions, will not break free of the mind state that has been given to them. That's just the way that it is. And the banks and all of these large corporations and businesses, they benefit from that type of thinking. Well, now you have this other offering where people don't really need you anymore. And the youth, there's a lot of rebels amongst the youth, be it good or bad. And they are shaking off the system. A lot of older people as well are starting to say, hey, wait a minute, things aren't going so good. We need to try something new. And they are also trying, they were giving crypto a try, right? So now you see, especially with the instability that the system is bringing upon itself. So people are looking for another way to protect their value, but still be able to use value outright without having stacks of cash, which is dangerous. Just, that's dangerous having such a thing around physically. But also, you don't want to have cash because that's going to be losing value all the time, the more money that they print. So anyway, let's read the rest of this here. It says, however, it's not really known just how much breadth of understanding that these small banks have in relation to central bank digital currencies. It says, with wholesale CBDCs, there is possibly a place for the larger commercial banks, at least to begin with, but retail CBDCs will open a direct channel between central bank and the wallet of each citizen with no banking third party needed. Exactly. And remember, I was talking about this last year. I said that the commercial banks were afraid of what the central banks were doing. We read that. This is why. But, you had the Bank of International Settlements came out and they're telling these smaller banks, hey, don't worry. Even though we could step on your toes and get direct access to customers, we're not. We're going to play fair with you. Like, sure, you can believe that. Maybe they will. Maybe they will, because they're lazy. They don't want to do a lot of work. They need the smaller banks to do work. So that's one possibility. But if they ever were not lazy and they wanted to use intermediaries in another way, they don't really need, once CBDCs roll out, they wouldn't really need the small banks. They don't need them. It's more like at that point they're tolerating them, propping them up. So it says here, so in conclusion, whichever way the smaller community banks choose to go, it might appear that their days are numbered. Perhaps if they embrace crypto, then at least they could provide custody services. That is very true. This person wrote a great article here. So on cryptodaily.co.uk. All right. So now let's move on to another little bit of information here. So this is from the esteemed Denelle Dixon of Stellar, right? And, you know, you had the UK. We covered an article about the UK and their regulations that's going to be coming out. Actually, I did that in a short, actually. And here, and you know, Ripple responded. Ripple responded like hours later. My goodness, they were waiting for that. They're definitely on their A game. And here's Stellar now with a well thought out, well worded reply. So this is what Denelle Dixon has to say. Number one, the UK's government's proposals for crypto regulations show a step forward. I know industry and government can come together to create clear, robust, and reasonable regulation that supports industry growth while holding bad actors accountable. Number two, increased consumer protection shouldn't come at the expense of innovation, nor should innovation put consumers at risk. We'll continue to be an eager partner as the UK moves forward, and hopefully more governments will follow suit. Also, another good thing that we're seeing here is the massive push for regulatory clarity. It's very interesting. So you have this massive push for regulatory clarity. Then you see how like the Congress is dealing with the SEC. They're claiming that they're going to be being more aggressive with not regulating, but controlling what the SEC does. And then there's some sort of reauthorization that the SEC needed to have to operate, but they haven't been reauthorized since 2015. So Congress alleges they're going to look into that. There's a lot of interesting things happening that leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe, behind the scenes, some of these big, powerful people, however you want to phrase that, are saying, hey, it's time to step on the gas for that new financial system. We're almost ready. So they're moving things along. I don't see coincidences. Chance is but cause and effect unrecognized. Right? So now, let's move on here. So it's interesting to hear Stellar say that. I'm glad to see they're stepping up. They're still letting their voices be heard, especially when they have so many corridors and so many places, relationships with so many different bank heads. I mean, they're deep in Europe. So I think they're going to dominate there as well because of how long and who they have connections with. Heck, I mean, they are working with the oldest bank in Europe. So they definitely have the ear of some powerful people. So it's always good to have all the bank coins let their voices be heard on certain issues. And I'm quite sure they don't have to come out publicly, but they can do it behind closed doors. I think a lot of them are doing that. They're on the phone. They're in touch with regulators privately. And so, but this is good. We want fair regulation, and Stellar has been a big fighter for fair regulation. And I think that's one of the reasons they're respected so much, not just because they have really, really great technology. They definitely do. But they're respected because they've been on the forefront with Ripple, fighting the entire time. It's been Ripple, Stellar, and Algorand fighting the entire time against all these regulators. If you remember in the beginning, when we first began this channel, Stellar was going to war with a few different regulators. So was Ripple, right? Algorand was on the panels with the government and such like that, letting their voice be heard as well. So that's the big three who fought for all the bank coins and fought for all of crypto that I know of, right? That's the big three. So now let's continue on here. So we have a little bit of Algorand news. So Algorand always has something big going on. So this was a retweet from them, and this is about Quantum Temple. It says here, big news. We are thrilled to announce that Quantum Temple just won the UNWTO Global Startup Competition as the most innovative startup in the category of local community involvement in the tourism sector. So now we have an offering today built on Algorand winning an award. We had another offering, Folks Finance, win an award yesterday. So what does that tell you about Algorand's blockchain? It means that they don't choose anyone but the absolute best. And it means they have a keen eye for projects that are good. What does that mean for anybody holding algo? That means there's the possibility that all of these number one and trophy winning companies building on the chain can bring a lot of value and volume, hopefully in the future over time. And then that can lend to that algo price going up. It also means that anybody that comes into the knowledge of Algorand because of these things will have the mind state that Algorand is the best, that they're associated with all these number one projects. That's important. And that can lead to more partnerships coming in. So it's very, very good in my humble opinion. So let's move on to this next one here. How's everybody doing out there? You doing okay? What are you guys up to for the weekend? You resting, meditating, you going to a party, clubs or something like that? You building your business? You going to any classes? You know, a lot of people do classes on the weekend. You know, they go to, what do you call that? Like you're furthering your education sometimes. Sometimes people just do leisurely classes as well, like swimming and stuff. What are you guys doing for the weekend? I'd like to know. You can put that in the comment section, all right, if you feel willing to do so. So we have this little article here. It's on medium.com. It's about Algorand. It's titled Algorand Gaming Ecosystem Metaverse 101. The metaverse is coming, whether people like it or not. Has nothing to do with Facebook. Metaverse is just an overarching term for Web3 and all of this stuff they're going to be doing, whether virtual or not. And it's coming because the banks want it. And a lot of big businesses want it to cut out a lot of costs. They don't want those physical buildings anymore. They want to save some money. They buy that metaverse land and own it outright. That's why it was such a big rush to get metaverse land. And a lot of regular people were buying up that metaverse land with the understanding that the big businesses were going to come and buy that land up. They needed it. So it begins here. It says, continuing our journey to discover the blockchain. Today, we take a leap inside the exciting gaming hemisphere. We will analyze how the Algorand community is facing with this not easy, but full of projects and initiatives, period. We decided to turn directly to our friends, Algo Gaming Guild, who better than them to help us analyze this topic. As you may know, Algo Gaming Guild is an Algorand-focused gaming guild whose goal is to support and raise awareness for the Algorand gaming community. It says here, at which stage is currently the development of blockchain gaming? Quote, I would say blockchain gaming is honestly still in its early stages. Yes, I agree with that. You can see that just by how they look. It's just baby steps right now, but they're heading in the right direction. So some of the graphics I've seen may not look great. We'll get there. But I think the point is to continue to innovate, continue to push forward. They've done well with advertising. They're doing well with rewards. That's another thing. So the gaming on the blockchains is you're not just spending money like how you spend money and the people spend money in Fortnite or the people spend money in Roblox. You know, I'm trying to use ones that have digital money that they're using. No, you can actually win some money. So that's like, well, not money, but you win like Algo, or you can win some other DeFi protocol. And then of course you can liquidate that and have that value outright. So, and it's not going to be a lot, but it's something. It's something. It's more than what the companies of today are doing in the legacy gaming system. So that's another little interesting area where I believe that in the future, when the graphics get better and the speed of the games get better, the overall concepts, the community is thriving and the developers they're at their peak. I think that can bring in a lot of good business. Just my humble opinion. So it says here, as we make this shift and start to show off the true advantages of gaming on blockchain, we will start to see more adoption from the Web2 gaming community. That's what I was just saying. From my personal perspective, these true advantages are game asset control and ownership and interoperability. It says here, another quote, the best way to convince a non-blockchain gamer to appreciate blockchain gaming is to take their favorite game and talk them through the enhancements and features that blockchain could bring. If one were to take online game cards such as Magic the Gathering Arena as an example, it's pretty easy to imagine how ownership of your online cards as NFTs would be such a huge improvement. This way you could sell cards you aren't using anymore. Interesting. Okay, go ahead, talk some more. buy specific cards you want and freely trade cards with others. So it's a real game now. It's not like how people play the card games online now, and it's just digital images. You can't really do much with them now. With blockchain gaming, you can. They're like real cards. They hold real value. Interesting. Compare this to currently having to open expensive card packs to hope you get a specific card and you can immediately see the benefit. Interesting. Okay, so look, I think blockchain gaming is looking good right now. They're in the beginning stages, and so we will keep our eye on it, and hopefully it will continue to develop into something that will bring a lot of value to Algorand, and I think that it will. So let's end off here, right? Not gold news today. We'll do gold news another time. This one here is from Cointelegraph.com and it's titled, U.S. Congress to hold crypto crash hearing on February the 14th. Is that so? The crypto crash, why financial system safeguards are needed for digital assets. Hearing will come 2 months after senators met to discuss the collapse of FTX. It says in a February 3rd announcement, Senate Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown said senators would convene on February the 14th in a hearing titled Crypto Crash, why financial system safeguards are needed for digital assets, unquote. The hearing will come 2 months after lawmakers met and discussed the collapse of crypto exchange FTX. As the second hearing is scheduled for the Senate Banking Committee, really, following the start of the 118th session of Congress. There will be some changes. Senator Brown will remain committee chair, but Senator Tim Scott will take over as ranking member following the departure of Pat Toomey. None of this is going to make a difference. You know, all of these people typically have one agenda and one way of thinking. Groupthink is strong amongst all of these groups. We'll stay abreast of this and see how this all turns out. And that's how I feel. I want to see what the results are. I'm more of an action person. Actions speak louder than words. So all of this talking means very little to me, although it does draw my attention. We will see how this all plays out. So, okay, so they're going to have a bunch of different stuff going on in relation to crypto. Once more, we'll see what the results are. if anything comes of this. So, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.